Awesome. Okay, so let's get into it. So first question off the bat, uh, if you could have fans control one thing on race day, just one thing, what would it be? Take it out of your hands. What do you one thing you want fans to control on race day?
Man, that's a great question, and it'd be kind of cool if the race fans could control the length of the race. You know what I mean? Maybe if they wanted to add another 50 laps because it was so exciting,
Mm.
maybe they wanted to shorten it 50 laps. You know what I mean? Because it was super hot outside, or whatever it may be. I think it'd be kind of cool if the fans could really control, like if it was a 300-mile race, they made it a 400-mile race, or they made it a 250-mile race. You know what I mean? Because the fans, without the race fans, we don't have a sport. You know what I mean? So the race fans are everything, and this is just amazing. So my answer would be, if the fans could control something, it'd be kind of cool if they could control the length of the race.
I love that. That's a great idea. I love that. Um, Describe your driving style in 3 words.
Fierce, intense, fast.
Perfect. Perfect. I love that. I love that. Um, what's the scariest part about going fast, about driving fast?
you know, I, I guess if you could use that word, scared or nervous. I guess how I would use that word is, I'm scared to fail. You know what I mean? I love going fast. No part of going fast is scary. Sometimes it's intense. That's why our sport has so many great fans around the world, because man, the intensity is amazing. And beating and banging and sparks flying, and but that's my world I live in. I love it. So I don't know if I would say any of it's scary. I'm scared to fail. You know what I mean? I want to race good, have great sponsors, have great fans that support you. Without all that, you really don't exist in our sport. I don't think there's any part of going fast scary, but I'm afraid to fail, if that makes sense.
It's a great response. I guess it's more for guys like me who are scared to go. I don't know. If I'm around 100 miles an hour, that feels very fast, David. That feels very fast.
No,
Um,
you're good at what you do, and if I had to do your job, that would be scary to me, and thank God for people like yourself, that brings so much knowledge and all the cool things you bring to all the great fans out there. But if, the speed of racing is, man, I love it, you know what I mean? And I don't think there's any part of it scary, 200 miles an hour, 210, 150, 100. I love it all. I love to go fast.
would you say you're like addicted to that speed? You're
Well,
addicted to the
it's
speed of that?
just, I'm addicted to competition. You know what I mean? I'm kind of, and I guess that's a great way to describe it. I guess I'm addicted to going fast. The speed.
Mhm.
I love it. So yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Um, would you let a fan ride shotgun during the race?
Absolutely, I would. I think that would be cool if you could keep them. Obviously the fans love a great race and good competition, but one of the most important things of our sport is the safety aspect. But
Yeah.
if we could race a race car that you could actually bolt in a second seat on the passenger side and put a fan in there, man, I would love to have a fan race with me and every other competitor out there. It'd be kind of cool to have a passenger in a NASCAR race. I mean, it's not possible, but I think it'd be so cool because, and I said this earlier, without the fans supporting the sport,
Yeah.
you don't have a sport, so it'd be kind of cool if you could really, that's the ultimate engaging the fan in the sport, putting them inside the race car and letting them ride with you, but
Yeah.
be kind of cool to see them over there with the Hans device and a helmet and a racing uniform and all the safety harnesses, and that'd be awesome, man. I would love that. Don't know if that's ever going to be possible, but that'd be pretty awesome.
If fans were talking to you during the race, Like, let's just okay, during caution, obviously it'd be a little bit easier to have a conversation with them, but during a race, would you let a fan kind of jump in on your comms and say like, David, how's it going in there?
Man, I would love that. My son, who's 14, my oldest son's 14, and I think maybe 3-4 years ago, we gave him a radio, and man, throughout the race, like, go, Dad, what are you doing? Go, my team was like, and I would love to have, I would love to have a fan be able to come over the radio during the race and say, man, David, what's going on? Go, go, and maybe be like a cheerleader for you or give you some encouragement or to ask you, hey, man, what's wrong with you? What's going on today? You're not very fast. You know what I mean? It'd be kind of cool to have that engagement. I think that would really take the fan experience to the next level. And that would be really cool to if we could ever pull that off.
Heck yeah. Well, we're trying, David. We're trying. Baby steps, right? Baby steps.
Well, cool, man. Y'all are doing a great job. Hopefully we can make that happen.
Heck yeah. Have you ever sneezed during a race? Have you ever sneezed?
If I have, I don't remember it, and I've been doing it a long time, but I believe I have. Sometimes it feels good to sneeze, you know what I mean? And I believe I have. I just can't think of a particular time where I did, but I think I would not be telling you the truth if I said I hadn't, because I'm sure I have.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Hey, Josh, just as long as you sneeze with your visor up, if you sneeze and it's closed, oh man, you got a mess there. You know what I mean? So, hopefully when I did, I sneezed with my visor up.
I love it. That is good. I always think sneezing during driving might be like the scariest thing that could happen because you're like your eyes closed, everything goes wrong. Like, you know what I mean? You're going 200 miles an hour. I'm just going 60 on the freeway.
Well, I hope I sneezed under caution. Sometimes when when the caution's out and you're pacing around there at a controlled pace, I don't believe and I wish I did remember sneezing under competition. That would be kind of tough. So, I just trying to remember I've sneezed under caution, where we kind of had a pit stop. Everything's kind of relaxed before they drop the green and we go back to racing. I wish I had a great story to say, hey, I sneezed when I was going into turn one at 200 miles an hour, but I don't really remember that ever happening, to be honest with you. Thank God.
If the fans were your crew chief, what's your best piece of advice? To maybe a fan or anybody that's never been a crew chief. What do you think your best piece of advice to them would be?
So, Josh, say that again, sir.
Okay.
Cut out a little bit.
If a fan was your crew chief, like if the fans are your crew chief, what's one piece of advice you would give the fans from your aspect?
Yeah, man, that's a great question, man. I would just say, hey, sometimes during competition, no matter what sport you're in, sometimes things happen, and a lot of emotions there. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes I try to be even keel so I can make good decisions and and figure out under adversity, you want to have you want to make good decisions because in our sport and every sport, in everyday life, we're all faced with adversity. Things happen. But I would just tell a fan if they were ever step into that crew chief role or a crew member role, it's just to, be calm, be cool, be collective, you know what I mean? And I think when that happens, you can make better decisions and you can, fight through the challenges, whatever that may be at the time.
I love it. I love it. Okay. If this were a law, if you got pulled over for speeding and you could get out of the speeding ticket by challenging the cop to a race, would you do that?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I would do that. That's a great, heck yeah. I just, that would be awesome, man. I'd be challenging once a day, I guess. I guess if the same cop pulled you over all the time, he'd say, hey man, 2 a week, that's enough, dude. No more challenges. You know what I mean? But, I love that. That would be kind of cool.
How many speeding tickets do you have? Is the real question.
Oh man, Josh, that's I'm not going to tell you a number because I can't tell you a number, Josh, but I can tell you I have a file cabinet that has I have two I have two folders full of tickets, and I believe I've gotten a ticket in almost every state in the United States, which is really I'm not proud of that. It's kind of sad, but I've had some type of moving violation or something in pretty much every state of America. And I can't believe I'm even saying that. That's not really proud because the street is dangerous. There are laws out there, and everybody's got to abide by the laws. So, but I've had my fair share. Let me just say that.
Perfect. Oh man. Have you ever entered a demolition derby?
That's a cool question because ever since I was a little boy going to the races with my dad, one of the most exciting, I mean, just auto racing in general as a little boy and being exposed to it as a little bitty boy, I loved it. But man, when they had a destruction derby, I think that was some of the coolest moments growing up, going to a destruction derby and seeing cars back up into each other and kill the car, and it's like, man, cars on fire, smoke going everywhere, and tire smoke. I love the way a tire smoke smells today. And it goes back from being a little boy and going to the destruction derbies at the racetracks. And man, when they would smoke the tires, trying to get the car that was just beat up to move. And I love that tire smell. And people probably going to think I'm weird, but burning rubber, man, is just a great smell to me. If they could make that into a perfume, I'd buy it.
Oh, that's good. Did you pass your driver's test on the first try when you were going for your license when you were 16?
Hey, Josh, I lost you a little bit. Say that again, sir.
Okay. Did you pass your driver's test on your first try when you were 15, 16 years old? Did you pass your driver's test first try?
I did, and I was not that long ago. I was moving some of my scrapbooks, and just photo albums of early years. And I ran across my driving the first. They give you and I think it was an 80 something. It was my driving when you drive with it was
driver's
a
ed?
Texas State trooper that rode with me. And I still have it. I think I made an 87 on it. It was amazing. So I passed it. It wasn't 100 by no means, but I passed it.
That's amazing. I love it. So we did that with it. What's your ideal vehicle for racing? Like, would you say is a shopping cart or a wheelbarrow? If you were on, you know what I mean? Like you had to push a car instead of driving, your ideal vehicle, would it be a shopping cart or a wheelbarrow?
So, Josh, our internet, our connection is going in and out. Say that again, sir, and I apologize.
All right. Ideal racing vehicle, a shopping cart or a wheelbarrow?
Oh, yeah. That's cool, man. I love the question. Man, a shopping cart, man. I'm pretty good on four wheels. Man, when you lose one of them, that's dangerous. When you lose two of them, that's really dangerous. So definitely a shopping cart. You got to have four wheels. I feel a little bit more stable and in control. But man, when you start taking away a wheelbarrow, that's nothing but I feel like that's you start entering into that danger zone when you start doing wheelbarrows. Talking about wheelbarrows.
Are you good at parallel parking?
I'm pretty good at it. Yeah, I am. And for some weird reason, I'm pretty good at parallel parking, and sometimes when I'm riding with my wife or a friend and they have to parallel park, I'm like, I'm thinking, I don't say this out loud, but I'm thinking it's not that hard. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty good at it, but I'm a kind of it's a little weird to be pretty good at parallel parking because a lot of people aren't, but
that's true.
Let me say over the years, I have messed up a couple wheels and maybe hit a body panel or two and was mad at myself, but not bad.
Got it. What do you eat before a race?
Man, over the years, kind of a weird thing. I don't like to eat too heavy before. If we race in the afternoon, so a lot of times we have Saturday afternoon races. A lot of times we have Saturday night races. So I'm pretty simple, just like a regular sandwich, just, whatever, turkey and mayonnaise, lettuce, pickles, just a simple sandwich and some potato chips, just because,
Okay.
man, I want to feel good when I get in that race car. If you eat something too heavy and you feel like you're heavy, and man, so I'm pretty light eater on race day. I can tell you the night before a race, if we're racing on Saturday, Friday night over the years, I've always been kind of like an Italian. I like my Olive Garden. It's kind of a weird thing, and most of the people that you have raced with me for years, know that they can probably find me at the local Olive Garden somewhere eating fettuccine Alfredo or something, so.
I love that. That is awesome. I love it. I love it. Have you ever peed in your race suit? Have you ever been in the car so long you'd had to pee in your race suit?
Man, that is a cool question because, I've been doing this 25 years and racing a long time. And I have never ever peed on myself, you got to understand when, sometimes, again, having the fans dictate if you want the race to be, 50 miles shorter or 50 miles longer, but a 300-mile race, I can't imagine peeing on myself, and having to sit through that, it would be a distraction to me. And I don't know if I could just bear the grossness of it. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure it happens to people. I have never ever peed on myself. And then if you want to ask me about the number two, I've never had that. I've never done that either. You know what I mean? If I can't stand to pee on myself, I can't stand to do the other thing on myself. So I never have. And most people say, well, it's have you ever, that's a great question, but a lot of times just the adrenaline and you're sweating a lot. And I believe that you sweat out a lot of the pee in your body, which is kind of weird to say that, but I've never peed on myself, and thank God I've never gone number two on myself in the race car. You know what I mean? That just
Yep.
wouldn't be any fun.
I hear you. All right. Do you like the smell? I know you said you love the smell of burning rubber. Do you prefer the smell of unleaded premium or regular?
Man, I think the premium smells pretty good. You know what I mean? So absolutely, and that on kind of our weird, strange way. People say, "Man, I love the smell of gasoline."
I know.
Of an engine running. Exhaust and I don't really share that kind of stuff with people because they said, "Man, this guy, we know he's weird, but he's really strange now." But I love burning rubber, the smell of rubber, and a race engine cranked up or exhaust. I just love that stuff.
Hey, you live in it. You live in it. What's a better celebration drink? Is it champagne or is it beer?
Dude, whatever's right there at the time. If I'm celebrating, a victory or a race win, Gatorade, water, champagne, beer, whatever will fly and splash everywhere, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? If there's champagne everywhere, I think that's awesome. Perfect, because you can shake it up and it'll go. But a nice cold Budweiser, or any kind of beer you can pour on top of your head after celebrating a victory. It's whatever there's close to me. I'm going to be throwing it on everybody and drenching myself with it. So, yeah, whatever's there is going to be great to celebrate with.
Love it. You talked about growing up, your dad introduced you to the car. Do you remember the first time you got into a race car for a race? What that felt like?
Oh man, do I remember it like it was yesterday, and it was a long, long time ago, just, man, I remember you asked about, being scared earlier with the speed. And, I was at a dirt track in Beaumont, Texas. I live in Houston, Texas, and in Beaumont, Texas, the 3/8 mile dirt track. And man, I remember building up my first race car and going to my first race. I was so nervous and scared, but as much as I was scared and as much as I was nervous, I was, dude, it was probably one of the best moments up until, I was only 13 years old, but you would have thought that, somebody gave me $1 million. It was just such a big dream come true. And you were so thankful, just so excited. The first dirt race car, first time I ever drove one, that was what I'm talking about. The excitement, the nervousness, being scared, all that kind of stuff. And it's hard to believe this, but even today, when I race a NASCAR race, and we just raced here at my home track, Texas Motor Speedway, 2 weeks ago, man, I still have to pinch myself because I'm so fortunate, so blessed, and the dream, it's you wanted it so bad, and you worked so many years and so hard. I still love it just as much as the first time I ever drove a race car. It means that much to me. It was pretty awesome.
I love that, man. Living the dream. You're living the dream.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Do you remember the first car you fell in love with?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I remember, all the 69, 70 Chevelles and Camaros, and man, I just fell in love with a lot of the muscle cars, and to see them today, how rare they are, but man, they just look so cool. There was a Dodge Challenger, Dodge Daytona that had that big wing on the back of the car. I said, man, that is amazing. It's like, can't even believe what you're looking at, and you see them today. But yeah, I fell in love with a lot of cars when I was younger, and still love them today, and still wish wish that, like most people, that I had one or two of them, you know what I mean? But yes, I remember as a young boy seeing all those cool muscle cars and falling in love with them, no doubt about it.
You think you fell in love with more cars or more women? I'm kidding. I got you. You don't even have to answer. I'm messing with you.
Yeah, I like that question. You got me on that one.
Can you describe the feeling when you hit the toggle? Can you describe that feeling when the car first starts to rumble on the track? What's that like?
Man, God, it's electrifying, man. It's you love something so much, and you work so hard to get there. It wasn't easy. So man, when I crank that engine up, when I'm in there, and they say, drivers, ladies and gentlemen, crank your engines up, man, it's that feeling is harder to put it into words and describe to the fans, but it's electrifying. It's magical. Man, it besides my wife and kids, it makes my heart beat.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
That's awesome. Can you make the sound of a car rumbling? Can you make that sound?
Man, I don't know if I'm any good. I don't know. I'm probably not, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's hard to make that awesome sound, you know what I mean? But
hard to duplicate. You think you'd make a good pizza delivery driver?
Man, I don't know if I would. Kind of like race fans, when you have a chance to really engage with them, tell them thank you for being fans, whether they're a fan of yours or not. Without the fans sitting in the stands and watching on television, I could have never been and done what I've done. So being a pizza delivery boy, I would people's pizzas would be too cold because I'd want to talk to the freaking customer too long, and they would probably call the pizza place and complain on me, and it probably wouldn't last very, very long. If the people, whether it be, whoever pizza place, they would probably fire me because I spoke to the customers too long. And then when you got to the other customer's house, the pizzas were cold. So I probably wouldn't make a very good pizza delivery guy. You know what I mean?
Are you good at racing video games?
Man, I suck at racing video games, man. During COVID, they had iRacing, and I don't know. When I was a youngster, when I was a kid, going to the roller skating rink, they had this racing game, a man, and then they would have like all night skating rink, where you skated all
Yeah.
night at the roller rink. And man, I couldn't wait for that because they had competition, foosball competition, pinball competition, and just one big race machine. They would have a contest, and man, I'd beat everybody. I still have the trophies today, but I'm so engaged on the racing side, involved with our driving school stuff. I don't really have much time to sit and play any type of video games,
I
So,
got you.
the iRacing stuff, a lot of my competitors are really, 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 really great at the iRacing stuff. I've tried it over the last couple of years, and I just been away from it for way too long, so I kind of suck at them, to be honest with you. So I would, if somebody would challenge me to race some type of video racing game or iRacing, I would have to respectfully decline because they would make me look pretty bad.
um, what's a better movie, Days of Thunder or Talladega Nights?
Well, to be honest with you, I do a lot of speaking engagements for companies, and over the years, lots for my sponsors, and I go out and talk to, so many different peoples about teamwork, safety, perseverance, you know, um, what do you call that? Quality, stuff
Yeah.
like that, and they always give me these quotes, smoking hot wife, and there's 20 or 30 of them I hear constantly. And years ago, I finally had to say, hey, I know you're talking about Talladega Nights, but to be completely honest with you, I've never seen it. I've never
Oh,
watched Talladega Nights, but I have watched Days of Thunder. I think I was probably the first person in the movie theater way back when Days of Thunder came out,
oh
so
man.
even so I don't know. I'd have to say Days of Thunder because I've seen it so many times over the years, and have never really sat down and watched Talladega Nights. But I can assure you, with anything with Will Ferrell in it, it's awesome. It's hilarious and funny. I don't know how realistic it is, but I
It's
like
not. It's not.
again,
It's
one of
not.
these days I'm gonna sit down and watch Talladega Nights because I've heard about it forever. I've just
Yeah.
never had an opportunity to sit down and watch Talladega Nights, and I'm going to do that really soon.
I
But
love
for
it.
me, Days of Thunder would be my movie of choice.
Heck yeah. I love it. Um, so I guess the next logical question then is, who's the better Trickle, Cole Trickle or Dick Trickle?
Well, I knew the real Dick Trickle, you know what I mean? The legendary Dick Trickle in our sport,
Yeah.
he was one hell of a race car driver, sad that
Yeah.
he's not with us anymore, but I knew the real Dick Trickle. So I would say, looking back on the movie, probably Cole.
That's good. That's good. Um, if at a pit stop they could give you a really quick snack, what would it be? Like every driver has to get a snack, right? At pit stop, what would your snack of choice be?
Well, a lot of people that know me know, one of the snacks that I love is ice cream. You know what I mean? I don't know if you call it a snack, but I could definitely, if everybody had to eat a snack, during a pit stop, it would definitely be an ice cream sandwich or some kind of ice cream something. You know what I mean?
I
So
love it.
absolutely, that would definitely jazz me up during that pit stop. That's for sure.
What's your favorite flavor?
Man, golly, here in Texas, we have these things, these ice cream places called Marble Slab. And I guess my favorite would be, it's called a cheesecake ice cream, but hey,
Ooh.
man, I'm a fan of all ice cream, you know what I mean? But my favorite cheesecake, you know, uh, I don't know, peppermint. I just love ice
Okay.
cream.
I love it. What's your favorite breakfast cereal?
Man, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, woo, big time, you
He's
know.
he was a
Oh,
driver. Wasn't Tony a driver? Wasn't Tony the Tiger a driver at one point? He
well,
had a couple
Man,
NASCAR drivers.
Tony the Tiger, they sponsored a guy from Terry Labonte They used to sponsor a Hendrick Motorsports car. Terry Labonte had Kellogg's on his car, and I just thought
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
cool, But man,
Heck yeah.
as a kid, I don't know about most people, but and I get frustrated with my wife because she goes to the grocery store and next morning I go in the pantry and I'm going to eat me some cereal. There's no Frosted Flakes. I'm like, what is going on here? She said, that is so bad for you. I'm like, man, everything's bad for you. Please buy me my Frosted Flakes. But that's my cereal of choice every morning.
I love it. Do you think Richard Petty's record will ever be broken?
I don't think so. I don't think so. The way the schedule is and how many races that we race in a season these years compared to back to the 60s and the 70s. If I remember right, back then they were racing, 50, 60, even more races in a season. Mm. And Richard racked up a lot of wins. Obviously he's the best of the best. In our hero and a friend, but I don't see his record ever be broken because of how many races we have in a season, and I think if we ran 50 to 60 races in a racing season, that you probably might see it broken, but that'd be a hard one to beat. You look at Kyle Busch, one of the superstars of our sport, races in the Cup Series and the Xfinity and the Truck Series. I mean, he's racked up a lot of wins in all three series. I don't know if you could consider that, surpassing Richard Petty, because Richard Petty won in the biggest racing series in the world, the NASCAR, NASCAR Cup Series, So, but I don't think we'll ever see that happen, to be honest with you. Maybe not in our lifetime.
Yeah. If you could have music playing in the car while you're driving, while you're racing, who are we listening to?
Man. Well, if somebody could hear my playlist, they'd probably be surprised because I got it all. I got, classic rock and I got Barry Manilow, you know what I mean? I mean, the Beach Boys, so I'm telling on myself here, and Elton John, and to be a little bit on my soft side, you know what I mean? But man, I Peter Frampton, the Rolling Stones. I mean, John, Bon Jovi. I mean, I like my classic rock too, So, I mean, if you was in a race and somebody would play music for you, a fan would put on I'd hope it'd be a great rock and roll song. I mean, we are, it's pretty intense in there, and we are moving around the track pretty fast. And I think it'd be fitting to have some good rock and roll in there playing,
Yeah. What's your favorite outside? I mean, Texas Motor Speedway is your home track. What is your favorite track that you've ever raced in? Favorite track?
Man, we'll be racing next. That's my favorite. I love them all, but to be honest with you, growing up as a kid, Daytona, you saw the Daytona 500 on television. You saw the Indianapolis 500 on television. So, being able to go to the Daytona National Speedway and race there for the first time, dude, you can't describe what that means. And going to Indianapolis and racing there at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, I mean, there's so many of them. Darlington, Martinsville, man, I love them all. Which one's my favorite? Man, I just like to compete and I love to race. And no matter what racetrack is next is my favorite. You know what I mean? But if you had to get down and say, hey, you got to pick your favorite ones, be the ones I've won at. You know what I mean? There's really be my favorites. So, but I love them all.
Do you name your cars? Do you name your cars?
A lot of people do, and a lot of the racing teams name their cars. I've never named any of my cars, but the racing teams have named them, and some they name. I probably can't mention on here, but others, have great names. Some race cars are just, they have a lot of speed. You've had a lot of success with them. Others have been, well, you can't get the car to handle like you need to. They're not very fast, but I have never personally named my race cars, but a lot of the racing teams do name our cars, but personally I haven't.
Got it. Okay. Got just a few more questions. I know you're a busy guy and I appreciate the time, man. Okay, so what's your biggest pet peeve that other drivers do on the road? Not on a racetrack, just like you're out there just driving your regular car. What's your biggest pet peeve that other drivers do?
You know, I really don't have any. At
No road
times,
rage?
no, I mean, I'm not going to say there's never been any road rage now. It just depends on what's going on. There's been times where I'm running behind my own fault and people aren't driving quick enough or getting out of my way. You know, Other times I'm pretty laid back, and my wife has told me before, hey, pull over and let me drive. I'm like, pull over for what? Because we need to get somewhere and you're driving like a grandpa. I mean, I love that intensity on the weekends. I love to go fast, but sometimes that intensity, that intenseness that I deal with for as many years and on the weekends as I had forever, sometimes when you're back at home, you just like to chill out, listen to some good music, and there's no rush. But
Yeah.
dude, I can assure you, when I'm running behind or I need to get somewhere, the intensity picks up. You know what I mean? I can turn that switch off and on, but just sometimes, on a Friday morning, Friday afternoon, or Thursday morning, whenever. Some people are on a Sunday drive. It's like, man, step on the gas pedal. You know what I mean? So, just sometimes there's just no urgency with people, and I can understand, because sometimes there's no urgency with me at times. You know what I mean? So it depends on what the situation is. So it changes, depending on what's going on. If you're running late or you're just cruising. But to say I got a pet peeve every day about other people driving on the roads, not really. Not
Gotcha.
really.
Gotcha. What's the fastest you've ever driven a car? Do you know the mile
You
per hour
know,
the fastest you've ever gone?
yeah, I want to say like 204, 205 was the fastest. Practicing, in the draft where you got 4 or 5 cars lined up, and man, you're getting it, and the more cars you got nose to tail lined up, the way the air is and the way the draft works, I mean, you can get way over 200 miles an hour. So I'd say I've been 205. You know what I mean? So yeah, about 204, 205 is the fastest I've ever been.
That's really cool. If you had to use a turn signal to pass guys, would you use it? Did you hear me?
I lost you there for a minute, Josh.
If drivers
Me,
had to, if drivers had to use a turn signal to pass on the track, do you think they would?
no, hell, I don't use them on the street. You know what I mean? Not unless on a race car. I mean, we're making quick decisions. There's no time for no turn signal, and again, I'm sure people cuss me and telling me I'm number one a lot, because I don't really use my turn signal even when I'm driving on the street. So definitely wouldn't use them on the racetrack.
Is Dale Earnhardt's mustache the greatest facial hair in sports history? Did you catch me on that one? Did you hear me? Is it my internet? Did we lose David? Maggie, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. He is
There we
using.
go.
No, there he
Oh,
is.
there
He's
he is.
back. He's back.
All right.
All right, you're back. You're back. You're back. You're back. We got
Sorry
you.
about that.
No, no worries, not at all. What was that question that I asked? Oh, is Dale Earnhardt's mustache the best facial hair in sports history?
Man, I'd have to say, it definitely was. I don't think anybody has really carried a mustache that cool. He was just a cool cat. And he was somewhat of a bulletproof type of character. A champion. I mean, he wore it well, and he was one badass. You know what I mean? So I hadn't seen anybody wear a mustache like him. That's for sure.
All right, two more questions. Last two questions. what's one thing that separates you from other drivers?
You know, I think the passion I have for the sport, and everybody's got a great story how they get to NFL players, doctors, Major League Baseball players, hockey player. I mean, everybody's has a story. It wasn't easy, but man, I don't know. I think the passion and the love I have for auto racing, I don't, I think that kind of separates me. I really, really very passionate and love it so much. And I think the second thing would be the history of the sport. Growing up and wanting to be part of something, you learn the history of it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It goes back to passion, desire. Uh, I would say those two things probably might separate me from others. But there's so many other race car drivers that have the same passion. You know what I mean? I don't know if it equals mine, but I would say those two things.
I love it. All right, last thing. If just open-ended to the fans, like why you should pick David Starr to drive their car on November 4th.
Well, hey, look, I love the fans. I know what makes our sport works. Without you guys, the fans, I couldn't have made a living and lived out my dream, and every for all these years and every time I had a chance to really engage and visit with the fans, I mean, it's everything to me. I hope they can see the passion and the love I have for NASCAR racing, and I love to race, and I'm real. I'm out here working. I'm dirty. There's, I'm no different from them. It's just, every once in a while, once a week, I get to put on a racing uniform, and maybe they don't, but I'm no different from them. Just a hardworking guy like most Americans. Had a lot of love and a lot of passion for something, and was blessed to able to get there and do it as a professional. I just hope they would vote for me because they see that I love our sport and I love to race, and I would love to have their vote, but if they vote for me or not, I still love the fans.
David, man, this has been so much fun interviewing you. I can see your passion. I can hear your passion, and just been a pleasure all on this side of the table, and the vote goes up pretty soon. So, we're going to be putting out these videos on social media relatively soon, and, good luck in the vote. We're pumped to have you a part of this.
Well, Josh, I appreciate what you do, man. Thanks for interviewing me, and thanks for doing what you do. And I hope I'm their guy, but man, I'm going to keep digging. If I am, or if I'm not, hopefully I will be. And thanks for interviewing me, man.
Of course, man. We'll talk soon. Thanks, David.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Download the fan-controlled Control app and start voting now. This is Fan Controlled Racing.